This is going to break my heart to say, but Canada's economy is now more free than the United States, and that's with the drag of their healthcare system. I mean, come on. It's Canada. What did they give us? Bryan Adams? Alan Thicke? Okay, hockey. But according to the Fraser Institute's annual Economic Freedom of the World report, the U.S. has dropped all the way to 18th in the world, while Canada ranks 5th. I guess Obama's takeover of the healthcare and auto industries didn't help. But it gets worse. Take a look at some of the other countries that are above us on the list. Hong Kong, Singapore. Yeah, Singapore, where the Facebook guy Eduardo Saverin went to. Low taxes. Well, that makes sense. Switzerland. It's got to be those Swiss bank accounts or something. Finland, the UK, Denmark? Are you kidding me? Finland and Denmark are socialist welfare havens. Now, we can't forget the economic powerhouses of Bahrain and Estonia. When countries like these start beating us, you know we actually do have a problem. The report also found that we dropped four of the major 5 categories, things like the size of government, protection of property rights, the rule of law, regulation, and international trade. And here's the kicker. The one area where we didn't see a drop was the soundness of our money. The report may want to issue a revision on that one since the data was used from 2010. Just wait till they get a hold of the data from the past 2 years under Obama. So what happened? From 1980 until 2000, we were ranked at the top as the top industrial nation in the world. I guess when Ronald Reagan said that freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction, he was right. Now, back in 2008, before Obama took office, we were 6th. Now, since then, we've fallen 12 spots to number 18 with a 10-spot drop from last year alone. This is, again, from 2010 data. I'm sure it's actually worse. And don't think it's a mistake. This is exactly what spreading the wealth around and giving everyone a fair shot looks like. And this is what Obama and the progressives have wanted all along. Now, I did say that Finland and Denmark are welfare states, but they're closed welfare states. They're not open welfare states. A welfare state with an open border cannot survive, and we have an open border policy where entitlements are passed out regardless of citizenship. So what it boils down to is this: less economic freedom equals less prosperity for everyone. Now, here to talk about America's slide towards socialism is Assistant Professor of Business and Economics at King's College, Brian Brenberg. So let's start with that, with the Scandinavian countries. Sure. Progressives are always telling us, oh, look how generous they are. I mean, they have all of these free services, and they're the happiest countries on earth, right, and the best place to raise children. Right. Yeah, because jokingly, I've heard it say that Sweden's full of Swedes. Yeah. They don't have an open border. There's no mass migration into the country. They don't have a massive percentage of people living off the system while residing illegally. We have all of that. Right,
right. And the people who want to get into Europe aren't going into Denmark and Finland and Sweden. They're going into Spain, as you mentioned before the break. And if you look at the unemployment rate in Spain for young people, it's enormously high, something like 40%.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like, what is the overall? It's like 25% overall, right?
Right. It's up there for overall, but if you look at youth in particular, it's extraordinarily high. And that's the big, when you translate now to a U.S. context, that's why people in the younger generations ought to be so concerned about what we're doing here, because the policies that we're pursuing that are causing us to drop in the rankings are the same policies that are going to lead to massive youth unemployment.
Now, one of the things you teach, it used to be that freshmen, and I don't feel that detached from my colleges. I'm 40 now, but I don't feel that detached, that I remember being a freshman and everyone was so romantic and idealistic, but by the time they broke out into their majors, if they went business, they were like, wow, whoever I was at 18, I don't know that guy anymore. But now it's taking people to get into their mid-30s before they start to undo that sort of campus bubble mentality. Yeah. And by then it might be too late.
Yeah, the campus really is a bubble. I mean, if you're at a lot of state colleges or even private colleges, you're out in the wilderness. It's like a country club. You're hanging out at the tennis court, you're going to the gym, you're eating at the cafeteria. The nice thing about students going to school in New York City, by and large, is they can't have that experience, actually. At the King's College, they're fending for themselves. We don't have a cafeteria. We really don't even have a dormitory system, right? They're just out in the world like working professionals. They get the lesson a little bit more quickly.
Now, when we talk about economic freedom, what's funny is when progressives preach the benefits of an activist government or central planning, for that matter, they do not ever talk about what that costs, and it does cost economic freedom. When you no longer keep the fruits of your labor, when you aren't inspired by all that is possible, you say, well, the furthest I'm ever going to go is here, and then they're going to take the rest of it away. You know, when you look at the people who have been such titans of our industries, whether it's all the way back to Eli Whitney or fast forward to Steve Jobs, I mean, these people were inspired by all that was possible, and they created thousands of jobs in the process.
Yeah, not
millions.
Only inspired, but they had the space to be creative. I mean, if you look at the iPhone, you read Steve Jobs' biography. The story of the iPhone is a story of people coming together from all around the country. Guys up in New York at Corning that are making the glass for this thing. Guys down in Delaware.
Pencil.
That's right. Guys down in Delaware coming up with the multi-screen touch. Guys in Palo Alto doing their work. Economic freedom gives you the space to be creative because none of us know what we can do ahead of time. We're not born with tags on our ears that tell us what we can be. And so we need that space to discover who we're going to become. And sometimes that means failure, and that's okay because you learn in failure just as much as you learn in success.
It's a discipline of